we've been throwing around this word, mindfulness, and I think we need a definition here. What does it mean to be mindful?
Well, there are a lot of different doors into this room. So it's, one is an operational definition. In other words, how do you cultivate mindfulness? And my working definition in that vein is its awareness. Mindfulness is the awareness that arises by paying attention on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. And the non-judgmental piece got mentioned in the introduction as being potentially of great value, but it's very easy to misunderstand what non-judgmental means. Non-judgmental means suspending judgment, but it doesn't mean you won't have any judgments, and you have to force yourself to be non-judgmental, but more that you don't judge how judgmental you are, which once you start to pay attention is colossal. How many ideas and opinions and likes and dislikes and everything actually drive us literally from moment to moment so that we can be lost in thought, lost in our heads, caught up in emotional storms, and not be actually living our lives in the only moment we ever have, which is this one. So that's the operational definition. Now, there are two different ways that I use and my colleagues use, but there are two different ways to think about this in the larger sense, because awareness, I don't want to get into the question of how does awareness differ from consciousness, for instance, but awareness is a very interesting faculty that we all have, that if you stop and think about it for a moment, can you experience being aware right now in this moment? Of course you can. And you can be aware of various aspects of experience. And as I said, there are many through the senses and also through the body as a whole and through the mind, through the faculty of attention and awareness itself. So there are many different doors into this. And one is, could we try as a little exercise, just as a game, you could say, to just say pick one object that we would attend to and then see what happens if you decide, whoever the you is that tells the other parts of you to do things, that you decide, I'm going to just feel my breath and be aware of my breath for, say, the next 3 minutes or 5 minutes. And we won't do it. And if you're out there driving, listening in the car, don't close your eyes for this. But you might feel the breath come in and feel the breath come out. So it's not thinking about the breath, but very, very rapidly, inevitably, you will notice that your mind drifts off into something else. The past, the future, opinions, ideas, memories, anticipations. And so the breath is no longer in evidence. So then when you notice that, and sooner or later you will, then you come back to the breath. So it's like exercising a muscle. It's like the mind goes off, bring it back. Mind goes off, you bring it back to the object that you're paying attention to. It doesn't have to be the breath. It could be virtually anything. But then slowly over time, mind goes off, and you're having such a good time in your own space fantasy or whatever, you don't want to bring it back. This is where the rubber meets the road. You bring it back anyway. Just for fun. Just for fun, against all the resistance, and I don't want to do this, and it's getting boring, and all of that kind of, which is all thinking. You bring it back anyway because part of you decided you were just going to do this and see what would come of it if you did. So that's one door into it, is to use objects to pay attention to. But let me just say that that could easily convey the impression that it's the objects of attention that are most important. And it's not the objects of attention, the breath or the body as a whole or this technique or that technique. That's not what's most important. What is most important is the attending itself. So can we pay attention to attention? Can we bring awareness to awareness? And one way that you can do that is to actually practice being present without focusing or choosing a particular object to attend to. Just rest in awareness itself. That turns out to be quite a challenging thing to do, but in essence no more challenging than staying with the breath. They're both very, very difficult. But there are many, many different doors into this room, and the really important thing is not to think one's better than another, but to actually don't stand in the doorway, but enter the room.